Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm Wes Decker. Great to have you along this week as we make our seasonal transition from fall to winter. So we go from handing out the fall awards last week to previewing what's ahead in the winter sports season. And we'll start with indoor track and field. And I'll begin with what you've all been clamoring for so long, more Dan Kaufman. Assistant sports editor Dan Kaufman joins me for indoor track and field, starting with the girls. So it's a double dose of Dan coming up. And, you know, we did so well with volleyball in looking ahead. So let's press our luck here with indoor track and field. Let's go with what we know first, and that is that Boonesboro is the two-time defending state champion in 1A.
And looking pretty good again. No surprise with the machine of a program that Becky Walter has produced here. You know, they're just, they're loaded, and it starts with their distance crew, whether it's Cameron Harper and Ainsley Plumador in the middle distances, or Maggie and McKenna Luzier, the sisters leading them on the distance. Of course, they've got two stud hurdlers in Caitlin Wallace and Emily Kimball back as well. I mean, they're kind of the core six, and we all know with Boonesboro's program, there will be other names that step up as well that we'll be mentioning come late January, early February.
It really is an embarrassment of riches for the Warriors. I mean, last year they had 9 first-team all-county performers. 5 of them back this year. Right. On top of that, they had 5 more second-team all-county performers, and 4 of those are back this year. So not only do they have quality athletes, but they have the experience. And Cameron Harper coming off another tremendous cross-country season. Right. She was the Inside Sports Indoor Track and Field Female Athlete of the Year last year. So, I mean, how much better can she get? Because we've really seen a progression with her over the years.
We don't know. That's the exciting thing too, right? I mean, we know how good she is, especially in the 500, which indoors tends to be her marquee event. But she's also good at the 300, and of course we're going to get more salivating matchups with Lauren Daniels of Smithsburg. Whenever those two race each other, it's the main event anytime. We're going to get some more of that, which will be fun. You know, as far as numbers go, we'll see how low Cameron can go. I'm sure she's got some time goals in mind. That's where when we see what happens in January or even these late December meets that are developmental in nature, that's where we start seeing where it's all heading.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing, you mentioned Lauren Daniels from Smithsburg, now a senior, one final shot at this for her, and last year she came up like that close. She was that close to winning the 55 at States. What do you think her motivation is going to be like this year?
Oh, I don't know. Finishing about a foot faster than she did last year in the 55. I mean, you know, she strikes me as, obviously she's very competitive. You can see that on the volleyball court just as well as on the track. Yeah. But she also strikes me as she's not overly worried about it, except just go out and do her best every time out. I don't think she overthinks this stuff too much. It's just when the gun goes off, go as fast as you can, and hopefully, you know, if you see somebody in front of you, go run them down as well. But yeah, it's exciting to have talents like Lauren and Cameron back at it again this year. It's that always makes it more fun to watch.
Well, you look at what Boonesboro did last year, and they absolutely dominated in winning another region title. They won 9 of 13 events there, won 7 of 13 in the county, where there's been an incredible stranglehold for the Boonesboro girls now, the last 6 in a row. Sure. But the team that was the runner-up to them was North Hagerstown. Right. North Hagerstown has a bit of a subtraction with Jordan Morris now going to South Hagerstown. Right. So do we look at Boonesboro and then South Hagerstown as the team that will be behind that?
You know, it's always tough to say. I mean, I just don't know where the depth is going to emerge with these other teams, and it's not going to be, you know, I can name a couple stars with each of these teams. With South Hagerstown, you know, you mentioned Jordan Morris being there now. Emily Alexander's a good distance runner for them. Sadie Leisinger in the high jump and hurdles. So there's kind of some key girls for South. North still has Phoebe Meehan, a freshman who emerged in the distance in the cross country this past season.
Well, there we go, a completely new player there for North too.
And Mary Claire Anderson's a solid middle distance runner who's going to be right there in the mix. But again, when you're predicting team finishes, so much of that is where's your depth, and it develops during the year. We don't necessarily know about it now, but we may know about it a month from now. So that's going to be the key, is who can get their kids out and whose kids are going to develop the fastest.
And of course, everything is geared toward getting those performers to states.
Absolutely.
Qualifying to get there. It's going to be exciting as this season unfolds for sure. But I think what we've laid out is everybody's going to be chasing Boonesboro
No question.
again.
Yeah.
I think they are the prohibitive favorites. There's no question about that. Smithsburg has finished second to Boonesboro at states the last couple of years. But Smithsburg doesn't seem to have as much depth as they've had in the past.
I would agree with that. Again, on paper, this could all change come, the end of January. We'll look at it and we go, well, we didn't know about that.
And based on the fact that we're predicting it.
Yes, because we did such a good job in volleyball.
Right.
Every week in September during volleyball season, we were sitting here going, we know nothing.
That's right.
So it's the same idea. But, Smithsburg, Lauren Daniels, obviously, Michaela Jerwick's a good distance runner. So there's two names to watch for sure. And look, they do a great job with their program too. It's been overshadowed by Boonesboro, but Ray Shriver, TJ Hood, and the rest of the gang, they do a great job there as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt that they will bring the competitive juices to this, that's for sure. So that sets you up for what's ahead in girls indoor track and field. We still have the boys to talk about. Dan's back with me in just a moment.
Champions are not merely born, they're forged in the crucible that is flag football. With equal parts turf, pigskin, and heart. That's why Buffalo Wild Wings donates to boys and girls clubs across the country to not only help thousands of kids learn about teamwork on and off the field, but to help them fulfill their destiny. To shred defensive lines, terrorize the secondary, and emerge bonded as true champions.
When you're sick or hurt and can't be seen by your regular doctor, you just want to feel better faster. Make a convenient appointment or simply walk into Meritus Urgent Care, where you can receive attention from our caring professionals, from sprains and strains to sore throats, earaches, and other ailments that are not life-threatening. Meritus Urgent Care has you covered with on-site labs and x-rays and much more. We're conveniently located on Pennsylvania Avenue in Hagerstown at the Sylvania Center. Feel better faster with Meritus Urgent Care.
Welcome back to Inside Sports. More indoor track and field previews now. Dan Coughlin stays with me for this. And Dan, last year, Boonesboro did something it had never done in school history. Wins a track and field championship. They do it indoors by 57 points.
Yeah, just an impressive performance. And, kudos to them smashing through that glass ceiling in style. It was an amazing performance and one fueled by, again, the depth. I mean, they have so many kids out and so many contributed to that. Going to be tough to repeat that this year.
Yeah, what are our storylines going in as you see them?
Well, for me, the primary storyline is the distance battles. There's so many good distance runners in the county, primarily Boonesboro's group and North Hagerstown's group, who are going to be butting heads this year, whether it's individual races or relays. When you look at Boonesboro with Donovan McClellan, Ben Hardings, and Henry Schmidt, who kind of emerged during cross-country season, and then you compare them against North with Nate Neely, Brandon Gassaway, Ben Gazzola, and Sage Vipond, who all did big things either individually or in relays last year as well. Well, that's quite the distance contingent, and I think those races are going to be some of the more exciting ones this year.
Yeah, a lot of experience coming back for North Hagerstown in terms of their relay teams. As a matter of fact, that's the county winning 4x800 last year with Gassaway, the artist formerly known as Nate Neely, Nate McKenzie, along with Ben Gazzola and Sage Vipond. And I think that the county meet is going to be incredible when it comes.
It should be a barn burner. There's no, I don't think there's a clear-cut favorite out there. As at least looking at just the list of names that I have, I really think anything is possible. Could Boonesboro's depth emerge and prevail again? Possible. Could some other team come out there like a Smithsburg or a North High, get up there, or even South, led by its high jump contingent, and get in the mix? It's possible. We'll see. Yeah,
South finished 27 points back last year at the county championships, and you mentioned those high jumpers, and those are two guys who they seem to elevate themselves to new levels by competing against each other. Yeah, when you're clearing 6'8", you're doing something, and Nate Harrison Moore and Kathon McDonald, I believe, have both done that at various points, and they're gonna steal the show at the HCC complex when that high jump competition's going on. More eyes might be on that high jump pit than are on the track at that point, because those two kids can get up and fly. Well, there are definitely going to be some field events that eyes will be on. Yes. I know the Herald Males Indoor Track and Field Athlete of the Year last year was Nick Kidwell, coming back at Boonesboro, and what a story he turned out to be. A guy who had never thrown the shot put before, goes to States, throws over 51 feet there, and we wonder just how much more he has in him.
Just a beast of a guy. I mean, if this was pro wrestling, we'd be billing him as like the next big thing to face Brock Lesnar or something, because he's a man mountain. I mean, he's huge.
Yeah.
You walk up and interview him, and it's like, my goodness. It's like, no wonder this guy's an offensive line stud too. And he's thrown over 50 feet last year. And again, another year of experience under his belt. Our mid-50s is 55, 56 there for the taking. It's exciting to think about, and I'm sure he's going to be gunning for it. So yeah, it's seeing what he's going to be doing is top on the list of things to watch as well.
Yeah, he's an impressive specimen there, to say the least. Last year, one of the big surprises, I think, Sam Ewing winning the 55 hurdles at Smithsburg. But is that just a precursor of more of what we should expect going forward?
He's the just like his brother. He's the prototypical hurdler with that 6'5", 6'6" frame, the long legs. I mean, it's pretty. The stride is there, the three-step. It's just, boy. I mean, you got to think he's going to be much better with another year under his belt. He was really young and kind of learning as he went. Sure, I mean, absolutely. And another guy for Smithsburg that I'm curious to see how he does is Connor McEwen, who had such a great year as Smithsburg's quarterback during football season. He's a guy who ran indoor track last year. Wasn't necessarily a real notable presence, but, again, obviously a talented athlete. I'm kind of looking forward to see what he can do.
He really exhibited his speed on the football field. So if that translates to the track at all, I think people are going to have trouble catching him there too. And also, I think, when we think about that county meet, last year, as I said, Boonesboro winning it, and it was the 5th consecutive year that the boys had won it for Boonesboro. South 27 points back. But this year, you kind of put a lot of teams potentially in a hat behind them, and maybe not so far behind them going in, even though Boonesboro will have the numbers. Again, it's really going to come down to the depth that emerges and those points that are scored. We saw this in cross country with some of the events this year, that those placings are just so important. And I think that's the way the county meet's going to play out.
Yeah, you score 8 places in each event. And I mean, those 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th place spots, those points start adding up. I mean, that's where Boonesboro's had its advantage. It's not like Boonesboro's had more stars than, say, a Smithsburg or a South High or a North High over the years. They've just had more depth because of numbers, and it's prevailed. But, I mean, you can't write Boonesboro North, Smithsburg South. You can't write any of them out when it comes to a possible county championship. It's just way too early, and we just don't know how it's going to shake out yet.
Yeah, there are many meets to come before we ever get there, but it's a lot of fun to look ahead. That's why we call it the preview. That's what we do. We look ahead. Dan, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm back right after this. Andy Mason joins me. We'll preview wrestling in just a moment.
At Hamilton Nissan, we know you've got places to go, so let's travel together. The Nissan Rogue, plenty of room for you, and plenty of room for him. With nearly 40 cubic feet of cargo space, everyone will be using the Rogue for everything, all the time. And on occasion, you'll find an evening for yourselves, and the Nissan Rogue will be right there with you. Hamilton Nissan, let's travel together. Come see us on the Dual Highway.
At home, amid protest, questions were asked.
As the Vietnam debate raged, for those who fought,
from all walks of life, we went where our country told us to go. And sometimes we had to say goodbye to friends.
the Joint Veterans Council of Washita County asks you to join with them and exercise the freedom of choice Vietnam vets helped ensure to honor their service and sacrifice with a monument in their honor.
Freedom is not free. Donate today to the Vietnam War Veterans Monument.
Welcome back to Inside Sports. We continue with our winter previews now, and it's time for wrestling. And Herald Mail sports editor Andy Mason joins me for this segment. Andy, welcome back to the show.
Happy to be back, Wes.
Well, it's great to make this transition into winter. And when it comes to wrestling, of course, one name certainly trips off the tongue very easily. Aaron Brooks at North Hagerstown.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best wrestler Washington County's ever had, one of the best wrestlers the state of Maryland's ever had, probably the best athlete in any sport in Washington County history. You know, we make big deals about county champions, region champs, huge deals about state champions. Well, Brooks is a three-time state champ. He's won several national titles, and he's entering this season as a world champion. He won a world title in Greece in September. I mean, he's always been in another league. Now he's like, you know, he's a superstar. And this is not going to be a very challenging season for him, with the Hubs. Last year wasn't. He went 47-0, dominated everybody, pinned nearly almost everyone in the first period. He's even better now. He's now a senior. All along he's gotten competition from kids older than him. Now he's a senior, and it's, I'll be surprised to see many kids last over a minute on the mat with him.
His career record, 135-2 in the high school ranks coming into this year. Will he be wrestling at 160 pounds?
I think he's going to be at 182.
182?
Yeah, I think that's where he's going to start, probably. I expect him to be there most of the season.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Another step up the ladder there for him. And his team, North Hagerstown, 4 straight county championships coming into this season, but this could be a season where the landscape is a little murky. North, you can certainly say they're the favorite.
They're the team to beat till someone beats them.
Right.
However, on paper, and I might be wrong, but I've never seen this much parity in the county. I mean, a lot of these teams seem more evenly matched than there are no great surprises. No team beating another team would be a huge surprise. Lots of parity. North, like I said, still the team to beat, but they're only returning 6 varsity wrestlers, 6 of their starters from last season, which is fewer than any other team in the county.
Wow.
However, Brooks is one of them. They've got Justin Balsita, Tyler Cook, Joe Gross, who all went to states as well last year. But they've always had such huge teams that with North, all of a sudden, a guy who's a first-year starter is a household name in a few weeks because he's all of a sudden he's 14-1 and just waiting for his turn. And I expect that's going to be the case with North again this year.
Well, it's interesting when you look at the results from last year's county tournament in previewing this year. You had 3 champs last year from North, 3 from South, 3 from Williamsport, 3 from Boonesboro, and 2 from Smithsburg. So even last year, as it related to the county tournament,
to the titles, they were spread
those
out.
titles, they certainly were. And so behind North Hagerstown, what's the team do you think that you would put behind them as the season begins? Can you put one there?
Oh, geez.
I know that's a tough question.
South finished second at the county tournament last year. They return almost everyone. They have 3 county champs. They're all back. Derek Hannon, Nick Kelball, Sean King Pombo. And then King Pombo went on to place 4th at states at 285. He's now trimmed down, lean and mean at 220. And Caleb Everhart also, he wasn't a county champ, but he and King Pombo represented the Rebels at states. Everhart, they're obviously both back. Everhart got there as a freshman. They're looking good. They have 25, 30 guys on the team, one of the biggest teams in a long time, and that includes 10 returning starters. They're looking good.
Yeah.
Boonesboro also looks good. Williamsport looks good. Smithsburg, with what it has, looks good. Smithsburg's going to be hurt. They only have 13 wrestlers on their team. I think that's the lowest they've ever had. That's not good. Now, 11 of those guys are returning starters. But when you only have 13 guys on the team, I think they can cover right now 12 weight classes. There's no room for, no margin for error. An injury could really hurt you. But right now, if they stay healthy, they're going to be giving up 12 points every dual meet to start off with. But they've got some good kids. Shane Havermail, state runner-up last year at 106. He's now back. He's starting the season. I think he's weighing right now like 126, but we expect him to drop a weight class or 2. And they have Josh Atkinson back, who was the county champ last year.
Yeah, so that's obviously it's quality over quantity there.
But so you got Boonesboro, Williamsport, and South, and man, it's going to be interesting. And first weekend of the season, I believe they have their annual tri-meet, those 3 schools. So we'll know a little bit more after that.
Well, tell us a little bit right off the bat, but I think as the season goes along.
Sure, and then the tournament's a whole different thing. Like last year, South Hagerstown went winless against all the other public school teams in the county. And then they go to the county tournament and get second, which was sort of a surprise. And I know they want to change that this year. They want to win some of those head-to-head matchups.
Well, I know Brandon Ashby has been developing the culture there. He's sort of been cultivating this program, and it's suddenly becoming that program that I think he had the vision for.
Yep, they've got the numbers, they've got the talent. It's coming together.
And those guys like Mike Rektorovic at Williamsport, and Sean Smith at Boonesboro and Joe Dietrich at Smithsburg, they're not going to give anything away along the way. I mean, there's a lot of competition there, and I think the county, what's going to happen within the county is going to set a lot of these wrestlers up for bigger and better things down the road as it relates to regions and then to states.
Sure.
I mean, this is going to be quite a battle within the county this year. And again, North Hagerstown, defending county champs for 4 straight years. They've had such a stranglehold on this. And as you said, they seem to come up with those guys that aren't even on the radar right now before the season is over. But when we look ahead and we think about, well, maybe South is the team that could challenge North as the season goes along. South hasn't beaten North in forever.
Right.
It's almost hard to even see that
more
happening.
than 2 decades.
Yeah, I mean, that is a long, long run right
but
there.
this is the first year where if you told me it's going to happen, I wouldn't be right now be absolutely stunned. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but other years it'd be massive upsets.
Right. What you're saying is
right now it seems
the possibility
seems
could
like,
become reality.
Yeah, but
But again, it has to happen first.
Sure.
Besides the public school teams, how about St. James?
Yeah, last year St. James had a fantastic year. They won the MAC tournament for the first time in 4 years, and they were the B Division private school state champs. And that's the first time in program history they won that. So I believe they finished 16th at the Independent School State Tournament, but they were first among the smaller schools, the B Division schools. And they lost a lot of guys, but their coach Steve Latchett, he's very confident that they can, achieve those same goals again. And they're led by junior TJ Culette. Had a great year last year. He got 64 matches. And he won 52 of them. He went 52-12. The 52 wins of county single season record. And from what I understand, he's better than ever right now. He's really focused on improving his technique.
I think it's going to be a fun season. There's going to be a lot to keep an eye on as it goes down. You can't sleep on any dual meet as the season goes along because they're all going to be important and they're all going to be very competitive.
That's how it seems right now.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. And look forward to seeing you throughout the winter season. Andy, thanks for being here.
Great to be back.
I'll be back right after this with a preview of the Washington County North Stars season, one that's already underway. We'll talk about it with Coach Blackwood in just a moment.
Antietam Broadband's Flight Gigabit service is ultra-high-speed internet delivered by a direct fiber connection. We are one of the few communities in the country to have it. But what does it mean? It means businesses will want to move here, which means more jobs, better jobs. It means access to world-class infrastructure for healthcare, education, and nonprofits. It means enhanced social and economic well-being. That's why it won the 2017 Leading Edge Award from the Chamber of Commerce. Flight Gigabit from Antietam Broadband, changing how people connect.
Welcome back to Inside Sports. We continue with our winter previews now, and one sport that's already underway, so we have the benefit of looking at what's transpired to this point, and then looking ahead from there is Washington County North Stars hockey. Joining me is head coach Jamie Blackwood. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Wes.
Boy, it's hard to believe this is the 11th season now for the North Stars. Man, time flies, doesn't it?
It really does.
I mean, this is incredible, and the success the North Stars have had, well documented. 6 conference championships, 3 state championships along the way. The last few years it's been kind of a rebuilding mode. So how do you characterize this year's group?
I think we're still in that rebuilding mode. We're very, very young. It's difficult. You have to look at the trend of hockey in the area and where it's been at and what the local association's gone through and what the players in the county and the draw is. And we're at the young end of something there. We knew we were in that bubble for a few years, but I see a lot of nice things coming down the road over the next 3-4 years.
How do you modify your coaching style based on the fact, again, that we laid the foundation that the North Stars have been so successful and the aspirations and expectations had been so high, and now it's more of an instructional method for you as a coach. So how do you modify what you do with the players that you have?
It's tough sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you end up talking above what they're comprehending. But some of the older players, and especially this year, Harris, say, hey, Dad, you got to slow that, back that down a little bit. We got to make sure we make it appropriate for their skill level.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge sometimes.
Yeah, a 2-3 record right now. And when you look at the statistics, you see 7 different goal scorers, which is very positive. And North Star's games have averaged over 8 goals per game so far combined between the two teams. So pretty exciting hockey. Nobody's falling asleep during these games by any means. But you mentioned your son, Harris Blackwood, the junior, and talk about 7 different goal scorers. But all of a sudden, when you look at those numbers, he's got 9 of the 17 goals that the team has scored so far, assisted on 5 of the other 8. How much of a leader is he, or how much of a leader do you look to him to be on the ice, even though he's just a junior and you have 4 seniors?
Yeah, so that can be a very unfair thing for him sometimes, to be put under that pressure by me to do certain things or to make things flow at a rate that the other kids can do, because obviously Harris's skill level is a little bit higher than most, or a lot higher than most of the kids in the league and the state and in most of the areas. So it's very hard to get him to balance sometimes, to understand where I'm at. But most of the time does a pretty good job putting that in. And he wants other people to get involved. He wants the kids to get better, and he wants to help them develop their game and stuff. So that part of it makes it easy. There's no prima donna thing going on, and that's a wonderful thing as a coach. And it's such a difficult thing to do, to be a dad and a coach,
yeah,
especially when you have a kid that has the skill level he has and has the potential on the track that he's on, and then you have some of the other kids that are in the middle, and then you have some of the kids that are at the bottom end of that, and how to gel that all together. But the leadership of the team has done a pretty good job this year of building unity again together. So I can say as a team they get along for the most part. It works out.
Well, you mentioned a word in there, potential. And when we transfer that to looking at the team and the potential that this team has, obviously competing in a very difficult conference where you have the likes of an Oakdale, Urbana, Carroll County. So realistically, what are your expectations for the potential of this team before the season is all said and done?
Our realistic goal this year is 500. Some of those teams are very, very difficult to match up against because they have several upper division skill level players, and we just can't match up against that, and that makes it difficult. Urbana was many goals better than us, but our effort that we put out the other night, and the hustle factor, and the willingness to work together and do the little things and sacrifice for each other in front of shots and the extra shifts and things like that, that's what makes a difference. But again, with our players, that's an every game, every day challenge.
Yeah, all those little frustrations aside, what are you most pleased with right now?
I'm pleased with, it really depends on the game.
Yeah.
There's been games where I haven't think we've given the effort that we should, but I'm pleased with the desire of a lot of the young ones to learn the game, and learn the game at a different level compared to what they've been used to learning it, and to learn the game, the fine points of the game that they've never really learned here, that'll help get them to be a better player and maybe help them move to the next level.
So as far as this North Stars team is concerned then, if they were to do something beyond 500 before this season is all over, that would be a major win and another step forward for the program in this rebuilding process.
Absolutely. I mean, success breeds recruiting and things like that, yeah, and in getting the desire for people to play. But again, we have to look at what's in the pipeline.
Sure.
Alex is our only goalie this year. You'd love to carry 2 goalies every year. I'm not sure whether we have one in the pipeline yet or not for next year. And that's a key position. And you can't just throw a kid in there 12 and 13 years old and say you're going to be a goalie and do that. I mean, there's years and years and years of training that has to happen to make a goalie proficient. You have to build your team from the goal out.
Yeah.
And we've been blessed up until the last couple of years with phenomenal goaltending and some phenomenal players that have been able to balance that off, so we could do some different things. Not so lucky right now, so we have to continue to work at different parts of the game in order to limit the amount of shots that we give up.
Well, Coach, best of luck with this group this year. We'll be following you all the way, and as always, it's great to see you, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
To you too, Wes. Thank you.
Next week on the show, I've got nothing but basketball. Kevin Dunleavy and Bob Parsolini will be here as we preview basketball. It's part 2 of our winter sports preview. Thanks for watching this week. I look forward to seeing you then on The Inside.
Hey, your sisters and your brothers, Your haters and your lovers, you gotta get up in the streets.